What's up, everybody, and welcome back. There are so many ways to record an acoustic guitar, and in this video, I'm just going to give you a few tips and tricks on how I like to record acoustic guitar and Ableton Live. Let's go. All right, so there's a lot that goes into recording acoustic guitar. The first thing I'm going to talk about is if you're using a pickup or if you're using a mic to record your acoustic guitar. Pickup meaning you have an acoustic electric guitar. So I have a few things set up here on my screen. I have one tab where I'm going to be using the pickup and one tab where I'm going to be using one small condenser mic. So the two types of microphones I'm going to be using today to record the guitar is the MXL V6-7N and the MXL 551. When I record on the single mic, I'm going to use the MXL V6-7N, and when I record with two mics, I'm going to have the V6-7N on the left channel, and I'm going to have the MXL 551 on the right channel. The guitar I'm going to use today is a Washburn, the model number L2110581. Also want to mention that this guitar, currently I've got Ernie Ball electric strings. It's just a personal preference. When you have an acoustic guitar that has the cutout and you want to do a lot of leads on it, if you ever try using thinner or electric strings, you get a nice tone on an acoustic guitar with electric strings. As you can see on these tabs, I have the same exact group attached to both. No difference. The only difference is going to be the settings on my guitar itself. I've got the volume knob all the way up, presence knob all the way up. I have the treble set about 3 o'clock, and I've got the bass and mids about 11 o'clock. So for this example, I'm not going to use any of the audio effects from Ableton. I'm not going to use the amp or the cabinet, any of that stuff, just to kind of give you an example of what the difference kind of sounds like. One other thing I want to tell you guys that's specific to Ableton, if you have an audio channel and you have monitor set to auto, that means if you arm this track, you're going to hear anything that's coming through this channel. And also you're going to hear any effects that you have in this track. However, if you record in auto, there's going to be a slight delay in what you play. If you have this set to off, you're not going to hear what's coming through this channel, but there's going to be no delay. So a quick trick is to duplicate this tab. That means any effects or utilities you have within the track are going to be the same after you duplicate it. So when recording, set one to auto, set one to off. So what you want to do is arm both of these tracks and then record in both of the slots. All right, so after you got your clips recorded and you've got them looped the way you want, I have these two looped exactly the same from what I just played. I played it one time with both of the tracks armed. What you're going to want to do is set these to play and you're going to record them in your arrangement view. And I'm going to show you why you want to set one to auto and one to off. Come over to your arrangement view, click record. Now the whole point behind that was this right here. I recorded these two loops exactly the same. If I zoom in, way in on this audio file, this is the track that was set to off. This is the track that was set to auto. Notice the delay. It's not much. It's such a small amount, but when you start adding other instruments or trying to play over top of yourself with the lead, this difference can affect you more than you might think. The track that was set to off, this is pretty much exactly how you played it, no delay. Now, the reason I duplicate it and record on two is because the one that's set to auto, I can hear my effect chain and I can hear how the guitar is going to sound. The one that's set to off, I can't hear what's coming through it, but I don't want there to be a delay. After you record in the track that's set to off and you play it back, you're going to hear all the effects that are in there. So then you can simply delete the other track. Now I have a perfect loop played exactly the way I played it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug the guitar in, I'm going to use the pickup, I'm going to play the same riff, and we're going to compare the two. All right, so now I have one recording with the pickup and one recorded with the mic. Notice within these tracks I have the same effect chain. I have a noise gate, generic compressor, EQ8, glue compressor. I have this fresh air plug-in, and then I have a limiter. It is exactly the same across these two channels. So let's take a listen. Now the pickup. So as you can see, it's quite a big difference. My own opinion, you're going to get a much more cleaner sound when you mic up your acoustic guitar. Yet there's still some cool stuff you can do with the pickup. A lot of times if you're playing leads or you like that kind of electric sound, then you can go with the pickup. It's really preference. Second thing I want to talk about is if you're using a pick or if you're finger picking. For this example, I'm just going to record this with the microphone. I'm going to play a riff with the pick, and I'm going to play the same riff without the pick and let you see the difference. Let's take a listen. Now the fingerstyle. So as you can tell, there's a really sharp difference in the sound. Now, it really depends on the song or what you're trying to go for. One thing you can do if you're using a pick is add a little more compression, and on that compression, you always want a very fast attack. That way you don't get such a spike when that pick runs across the strings. I want to go over one more thing about using a pickup versus a mic. A lot of you guitar players out there might like to use the slap or a kick while you're playing the guitar. But I'm going to go ahead and record an example of me doing this between the pickup and the mic, and I'm going to show you why you always want to use a mic doing this. Now we're going to use the pickup. All right, let's give them a listen. Here's the pickup. Timing was a little off. And now here's with the mic. You notice how clear that kick and that slap comes through on the mic. And there's a lot of tricks with that too. I mean, it's mic placement, it's how far. But notice on the pickup, you hardly even hear it. You're never going to get that clarity with the pickup that you will get on a microphone. If you have a classical style guitar that has the pickup and mic combo inside of it, that would possibly work if you're playing this style of music. However, sometimes those mics inside of those guitars are extremely sensitive. And since they are right inside of the guitar, anytime you do a kick or a slap, you're going to see a huge spike in your audio file, and it's probably going to clip. When you have an actual condenser mic set in front of your guitar, it's very easy to manipulate the sound and get the clear guitar playing and a clear slap. All right, so the last trick I want to go over with you guys is panning your guitar left and right and getting that real full sound for your guitar. So what I have here is I have a left and a right, and I have them grouped together. I'm going to drag these out a little bit, and you'll notice I have this one labeled left because I have this side panned all the way to the left and this one all the way to the right. The big difference here is that I have this one EQ'd just slightly different than the left side. I cut out a little more of the lows, added just a little more high just to differentiate the two. If the sounds are exactly the same and you pan one left and right, you're not going to get much of a difference. In the group tab, now this is where I have my compressor. So I'm compressing the two the exact same. To achieve this same trick with a pickup, what you're going to have to do is record your take twice. EQ one slightly differently, pan one left, pan one right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to record a clip with a single microphone centered, and then I'm going to record the clip with one pan left and one pan right. Again, these are also two different mic types, which will also give you a slight difference in sound between the two speakers. Now I'm going to record with 2 microphones. All right, so I did one take with a single microphone, which is pan to the center. Then I did another take with one microphone pan to the left and one pan to the right. Let's hear the difference. Here's the single mic. All right, now let's listen to the take with 2 microphones. So really big difference, especially if you're listening to this on speakers or headphones. If you're listening to it on a phone or a TV, you'll still hear a difference, but if you're on speakers, it'll make the sound much wider and much fuller. The other trick when you're using 2 microphones and one's panned to the left and one's panned to the right, the track that is panned to the left speaker, I'm adding reverb, but that reverb is going to the right speaker. The way I achieve this is I create a send track, I labeled it left to right, and I also have my reverb attached. Now, this send track is panned to the right, so as I turn this dial up, I'm adding reverb, but it's only going to the right speaker. And then I do the opposite with the right. It's a really cool tip, and it really adds so much to the sound. So lastly, if you're playing leads, there's a lot of ways you can go about it. You can use a single mic and just center up the sound. You can also do this trick of left and right. It just depends on the lead and the sound you're going for, how full you want it to sound. You can also combine everything. You can play your rhythm guitar with 2 microphones to give it that rich, full sound, and then you could even use the pickup to play a lead. There's so many ways to go about it. It really just comes down to what you're going for. And again, sounds and music, they're all subjective. So just stick to the rule of if it sounds good, it sounds good. These are just some general tips to go by if you're recording an acoustic guitar, and I hope you found some of this useful. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If I left anything out that you'd like to see, put that in the comments, or if you have your own tips, put those in the comments as well. Like, subscribe, share. I appreciate it. Now go out there and make some music.